for a long time. So I'm Piyush. I'm going to be your main host in the session today. So I have one person live in the session. Putri, welcome to the session. I see there are more people joining in really soon. So let's wait for a few more people to join in. In the meantime, let me ask you very quickly if you can hear me loud and clear. So those who are live with me, if you can tell me if my audio is loud and clear to you or not. So just let me know if my audio is loud and clear. Okay, so I see a few more people are joining in. It will be great to know if you guys can hear me loud and clear. All right, Abhishek. Hi, Abhishek. Hi, Putri. You guys can let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. There's a poll out there. Your vote is highly appreciated. All right. Okay. So I still don't see any response, and can you hear me clearly? So guys, do let me know if you can hear me clearly. Because if you can't hear me, I can't proceed. You should be able to see a poll below. All right, guys, so I have a few more people coming in. If you guys can let me know if my audio is clear to you or not, that will be great. Let me know if my audio is clear to all of you. Okay. Not sure why, but I've not seen any response till now in that. Let me start the poll once again. Can you guys hear me now? Response will help. Okay, so I see some responses now. All right, guys, that's great to know. So if you can hear me, that's great. So guys, you can go. So let's move on without any further ado into the session. I'm happy to know that you guys can hear me loud and clear. So I would like to know. So let's get started by knowing about each other a bit. So I would like to know in what stage of your GRE preparation are you at present. So you have some options in front of you. Most likely you are gonna be among one of these. So do let me know, are you yet to start your prep, or have you been preparing for less than 30 days, or have you been preparing for 1 or 2 months now, or is it that you are preparing for 3 to 6 months? Or if you're preparing for more than 6 months, let me know that as well. So please type in the chat, what is your current stage of GRE preparation? Hello Tayab, welcome to the session. So you guys can let me know what is the current stage of your GRE preparation. That will help me in understanding your current skill level, and accordingly I can actually adjust the pace of the session also if required. All right, so AY says I have 2 months remaining. I think AY, your name is Abhishek. Abhishek says 2 months remaining is what I have. So have you been, like my question was, how long since have you been preparing for the GRE? Tayab says 3 to 6 months. So Tayab, you're a veteran, it seems. You have been to this prep for a long time, right? 3 to 6 months is a pretty long time. So you should be aware of how GRE functions and all. That's great. That's great. What about you, Abhishek? Since how long have you been preparing? Okay, 1 month. Okay, so that's fairly new, I would say. And what about others? I have about 5-6 people in the session right now. Don't be silent, don't be quiet. Just tell me about your current stage. So I can actually pace up or pace down the session that way. So, and at any point of time, guys, when I'm going through the session, if you think the pace is too much or it's too slow, you can always come and let me know. Like in the chat, I'll be more than happy to pick up the pace or reduce the pace, whatever is needed. And also ensure that if you have any questions in your mind and when I'm taking you through the session, if you get any doubts, any queries, do feel free to interrupt and ask me your doubts and queries. I'm more than happy to take them up as we move forward, because your chat messages and is the only way I can communicate with you. So please feel free to share your thoughts in the chat at any point of time. Now, let me tell you quickly the structure of the session. So this webinar is divided into 3 portions. We'll quickly start with telling you who we are, what is that we do at GRE Viz, a couple of minutes there. Then we go into the main part of the session where I'm going to spend about 40-45 minutes, depends on how much you interact with me. And then I'm going to open it up for an open-ended Q&A where I'm going to spend about 5 minutes answering any of your questions that you might have. So that's broadly the structure of the session that I have planned for the day. All right. So let's get going into the first part. So about us, who are we? So we started GRE, like the GRE Viz team and GMAT Viz team is basically the same team. When we started with GMAT, and we have a proven success in GMAT in a very, very short span of time. So when we started, we disrupted the industry with very unique features, tech features. So we really introduced the tech in education sector by making learning personalized. And that is something which was visible in the average score improvement metric in our students for GMAT, where we saw our students actually improving by 100+ points. And if you could look at some of our competitors, their score improvement was around 60-70 points or so. And that is primarily because of the personalization engine that we created in Viz EdTech. So Viz EdTech is the mother brand which owns GMAT Viz and GRE Viz, where we actually started by offering a very unique way of learning to students, where we give every student a personalized study plan. So imagine that as a student, you end up wasting a lot of time in thinking, okay, what is that I do today? What is that I do tomorrow? So if you don't want to worry about that, that's exactly what we should be focusing on in your preparation. GRE Viz will take care of that. We provide a personalized study plan for every student, like a personal trainer who creates a plan of action for you for every single day, a set of exercises, a set of workouts. We create a set of activities for each week for you, and you see your progress, you see your projected scores based on that as well. And if you're not performing well, if you're not doing well in your prep, in any topic, if you're not doing well, the platform is so intelligent that it identifies exactly what your weaknesses are. And based on that, it gives you additional improvement modules in real time. So let's say you're doing prime numbers and you're not performing well in prime numbers, even after doing everything. We have created a tech in such a fashion that the teachers, when they created questions, they've uploaded in such a way that the tech gets to know exactly what your gaps are based on the questions that you're marking incorrectly. And then the tech goes through a complex algorithm, identifies those gaps, identifies short videos from the database on those gaps, and identifies additional questions that test you on similar concepts. So you go through those additional videos, you go through do those additional questions, and you see a significant improvement in your score. And then you also get to work with dedicated mentors as you move forward. So very recently, about 2 months back, we launched GRE Viz, where we wanted to be the only resource that you need to ace your GRE. We have 100+ video lectures, 1,000+ course questions, and 700 additional questions in our Viz Quiz platform to practice. And right now we are offering the course for a very, very limited period, a very exciting prices, very heavily discounted prices, where we can get our entire 1 month like package for 1 month for $35, for 3 months for $75, and a 6 months package you can get for as low as $95. The slab rates are $200. We are gonna increase the prices really soon. So these are the introductory prices that we have launched. In case you guys want to check out our services, in case you want to check out our website, I'm just gonna get you the link of GRE Viz on the top. So you can definitely go for it. The prices are really right now at a steal, to be honest. So you can check it out. The link is there on the top. It's greviz.com, as simple as that. Now let's get going into the main part of the session. So now when we talk about improving your GRE score, we need to look at 2 things. Okay, it is very important that you focus on identifying the root cause as well. That why is that your GRE score is not improving, and then based on that you create an action plan. So we will first focus on identifying the root cause. That where do you need to focus your attention, and then we will actually help you create an action plan for that. Okay, so in order to do so, let's understand the GRE test a little better. So in general, when people take the test, any test, right, generally the way we have been taught in school is that if you get higher accuracy, you get a higher score. That's how our mind functions. But in GRE, that's not the thing. Like when people think about higher accuracy, they think about practicing questions, they think about taking mocks and working on concept building. But in reality, in GRE, the test works in a very different fashion. For example, on your screen right now, you see some data points. So for example, if you get 25 questions correct, so in each section in GRE verbal, you have 20 questions. So in 2 GRE verbal sections that you get, you have a total of 40 questions. If you get, let's say, 25 out of these 40 questions correct, then depending on your scenario, your score, sorry, my bad, this should say verbal score, your score in GRE can be with 159 to 152. It can be in this range of 152 to 159, depending on where are you getting these questions correct. So for example, in the first section, if you get 20 questions correct, and in the next section, you get 5 questions correct, that's where you maximize your score, and your score becomes 159 points. On the other hand, in first section, you get 15 questions correct, and in the second section, you get 10 questions correct, your score is 158. Okay, but in the first section, if you only get 5 questions correct, and then you get all the 20 questions correct in the last section, the score is still a 152. So you can see that the GRE verbal score alone can drop by 7 points with the same number of mistakes. That is because GRE is section-wise adaptive. So since the test is section-wise adaptive, accuracy is not the right metric to look at. How does adaptiveness in verbal then work? So when you take the first section of verbal, which is always a medium section that is served to all the students, depending on what is your accuracy, the difficulty level of the next section is decided. So if you get 13 or more questions correct in the first section, that's when the second section that is served to you is a hard section, basically. So if you get 13 questions or more correct, second section is hard. And you would always want to be in this zone because each hard question will carry more weightage than any other question, right? Now, if you get, and just in case, if you get to this level, what I'm trying to say is, if you just get 13 questions correct over here, okay, 13 correct questions over here, and 0 correct, even if you get 0 correct, you get everything incorrect in the second section, which is a very less likely scenario, you will still end up with a verbal score of 150. And for example, if you're a quant whiz, if you know quant really, really well, you're a master in quant, you know you can score 117 quant. With that 150, you're talking about 320 easily. Imagine 13 questions correct in the first section. And as you increase the number of questions correct in the first section to 14, 15, this 150 will start increasing to 151, 152, and it will go up a bit. Again, with 13 correct over here, and maybe let's say 5 questions correct over here, you will see again improvement of 155, like that. So what I'm trying to say is that it is very, very important for you to actually get 13 questions correct in the first section of verbal. You cannot afford to miss out on that. That's very critical. Now, instead of that, if you get 8 to 12 questions correct, then the second section of verbal is also medium level, which is served to you. And see, the borderline case is 12. Let's say you get only 12 questions correct. Okay? Versus you getting 13 questions correct. If you get only 12 questions correct and you get 0, like your minimum score in getting my 13 questions correct is 150 points. Okay? If you get 12 questions correct, just one extra mistake you make in the first section, one extra mistake over here can drop your minimum score to 140. Think about that. Think about that, guys. About, I won't say exactly 10 points gap, but just one extra question can lead to a gap of about 6-7 points easily on the GRE verbal section, because you did not actually get to this benchmark of 13 or more. Now, if you get less than 8 questions correct, then obviously the next section which is served to you is easy, and your GRE score will be between 130 to 153. So you end up losing a lot by actually making mistakes in the first section. Now, what do you need to understand? Let's now relate. So the idea is you need to get anyhow 13 questions correct in the first section on verbal section. That's the most important thing. Now, let's look at the level-wise difficulty arrangement in verbal. Okay. So if you look at basically like not just verbal, I'll talk about quant also, but right now if you look at verbal, what you need to see is that this is basically easy questions, or let's call it very easy questions. These are easy questions. These are medium questions. These are medium hard questions. And these are hard questions, basically. Okay, so that's what the color coding denotes. Now, if you look at this chart, in the first section of verbal, you're definitely getting, it's not like if it is medium, every question is medium. No, you are getting 5 questions of easy and 5 questions of medium. So, as a student, your job is to make sure that you pick these 10 questions and get them correct. And it's not like these 10 questions will appear in the beginning of the test. So if you're taking the test in a linear fashion, you are attempting everything which is coming your way, then you're probably wasting your time. You need to take a more strategic approach. You need to ensure that you are actually looking at questions and understanding which ones to answer. You are supposed to take up first the questions which are going to be easier. You need to get them correct, because within a section, it doesn't matter whether you get the easy question right or the hard question right. All that matters is, are you able to get to that number 13 or not? If you're not able to get to that number 13, doesn't really matter. So you need to pick up the easy and medium questions and get them correct. And then rest 3, you can actually pick from these 10 questions. You can pick any 3 from these 10, get them right, at least those 3. If you get more correct, then it is better, obviously. Now, what about medium quant section? So if in the quant section, on the other hand, you have one very easy question, 4 easy questions, and 8 medium questions. So 12 questions you can actually get from here itself. In verbal, the medium benchmark that you have to actually get to the next difficulty level in the next section is 13, basically. In quant, this 15. So if you can see, 10 you are able to generate from here, 3 you have to generate from here. In this case also, you are able to get 12 questions from this bracket. You need to generate only 3 questions from this bracket. So what I'm trying to say is, in both quant and verbal, just to get to the next difficulty level in the next section, you need to only answer 3 questions, or minimum of 3 questions, let me put it that way, from medium, hard, and hard levels. Okay, if you can answer more, that's better. But if you can answer just 3 from medium, hard, and hard level, that's all you need to do. But there's a very big assumption over here. What is the assumption? The assumption is that you're able to get all the very easy and medium questions right. Now imagine a scenario in which you get 1 or 2 questions from easy and medium bucket from your weak areas. Let's say in quant, you have never touched geometry, okay? Or you're very weak at speed and time related questions, okay? You're very weak at that. And you get a very, very simple question from it. You have not read the concept, you have not prepared for it, and you get the easy question or a medium question from it, you are doomed, right? Because you have not done that. So one important lesson, if you want to note down right now in your notebooks, one important lesson in GRE is that you should be able to get all questions which are easy and medium correct from all the topics. So even if you are weak in a topic, doesn't really matter. You need to ensure that you're prepared to at least, in the worst case scenario also, at least answer the easy and medium questions. Even if you get the hard questions wrong, that's fine. But don't be in a position where you're not touched upon a topic at all. Okay, now what are the topics, how to work on it, I'm going to tell you all of that. Don't worry, I'm going to be here with you on that. So in GRE, skill rules over accuracy, you have to ensure that you are able to get easy and medium questions correct consistently. That is very, very important. You cannot afford to get them wrong. So in simple terms, if you want to actually take the test, you should take it in 3 rounds. And I've written in quant, but this is a strategy which works for verbal also. So whenever you are taking the test, don't take it in a linear format. Don't just try to attempt and score on every question that you are seeing. Whenever you see a question, read the question first. And this is a very, very important strategy which works really, really well. Trust me, guys, we have used this strategy multiple times. Our students have used this and they have gotten amazing, amazing results. So the strategy focuses on one thing, that you should not get you should not worry about each and every question. You should try and focus on the questions that you can get right and do them first. That should be your first priority. So whenever you see a question, read the question stem, ask yourself, are you 100% confident? And I'm saying 100%, okay? I'm not saying 90%, I'm not saying 98%. I'm saying if you are 100% confident, only then and only then you go ahead and attempt the question right away. Okay? Even if there is a little bit of doubt in your mind, you're not sure about the question, then you should bookmark the question. You should not do it right away. Note it down in your book, or if there's a bookmark option, just bookmark it to be attempted later. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're 100% confident, you attempt the question right away. If you do this, you will be picking on easy and medium questions. You'll be also picking on similar pattern questions compared to what you have done earlier. So this way, you're confident that whatever time you're investing, that time is getting utilized to the fullest. Okay? Now, when you see something which you are not confident about, you bookmark them for round 2. That means that you are not wasting any time. You're all making sure that you're able to attempt all the easy and medium questions, and then later on you come back to these bookmark questions. But if you're not sure about a question, you have not seen that earlier, you're not comfortable with that, then leave that for round 3. So what I'm trying to say is, take the test, even if it is a 30-minute test or something, take it in 3 rounds. Round 1, round 2, round 3. Don't try to go linearly, solve all the questions. Not really the best thing to do, because in some cases you might end up giving too less time to the last question, which could be a very simple question for you. So make sure that you are playing in these rounds. So in round 1, you are only attempting all the questions that you are 100% confident about. Okay, so this gets you to a very decent score. Then you move to round 2, when your entire section is scanned. You have gone through all in the entire section of 20 questions, and you have attempted what you could attempt. Then you move to round 2. Now you will start focusing on questions that you can attempt now. So this could be in round 2, if you're 90% confident, this could be basically hard questions from your comfort area. So this is something you can still get a decent accuracy on, because these are from your comfort area. Okay, understand that, guys. These are from your comfort area. So you do this next set of questions in this. And then finally you move to round 3 if time permits. This will be questions basically which are from your weak areas in general, because you're not sure how to tackle them. Okay, so this way you are actually utilizing your time to the fullest. You are utilizing your time to the fullest. You're getting 100% value out of your time, and this will maximize your score, guys. This is a very, very important strategy. You want to take notes, you can take notes. This is a very, very important strategy. Let me now ask a question to you guys. It has been a long time I've not interacted with you. So let me see how many of you are with me right now. So let me know how many of you follow this strategy in your tests. How many of you already follow this strategy in your test? A quick yes, no in the chat will do, guys. How many of you follow this strategy in your tests currently? How many of you follow this strategy in your tests, guys? Let me know that in the chat. Okay, Rachita says, I don't do that. Tayab says, trying to follow it, but usually unable to do efficiently. So Tayab, do it and focus on it. See, one thing which happens, and when you focus on this strategy, Tayab, sometimes what happens is that when you get when you skip back-to-back questions, let's say you're pushing off, you pushed off one question to round 2. You said, okay, I'm not 100% confident. Let me tackle it in round 2. Next question, you again push it off to round 2. Third question, you again push it off to round 2. Then the fourth question, you're not able to do that, right? You start itching that, okay, no, you know what? I'm not attempting anything. I'm actually pushing off everything to round 2. It's okay. Trust me, it's okay. See, if you're pushing off things to round 2, that means you're not 100% confident. If you're not 100% confident at that moment, there is no point in doing that question. You'll end up losing time. It's okay. Understand, in the test, if it is a medium, in the first section is a medium section, that means there would be easy and medium questions. It is just that sometimes they don't come in the beginning. If they come towards the end, at least you'll be able to tackle them. So please keep trying, and Tayab, I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to get that. Okay, so I just heard from Tayab and Rachita. What about others? Are you applying this in your test right now? If you're not, then please start doing this. Follow the strategy. Now let's talk about the solution. How to create an action plan. So generally what I recommend students is that in general you should prepare your improvement in 3 stages. learning stage, planning stage, learning stage, and solidifying stage. So let's focus on the planning stage first. So in general, if you're a working professional, it is better to focus on one section at a time. If you're not a working professional, if a student, you can actually work on both things in parallel, basically, both sections in parallel. So focus on one section at a time if you're a working professional, and retakers should work on their weak section. Now, when you are doing verbal, do one module at a time. Like in general, in verbal, vocab has not a lot of bearing on RC. RC doesn't have a lot of bearing on CR. So focus on one section at a time for your improvement in verbal, and in quant, focus on one topic at a time, because there are like if you do module wise, like number properties and word problems and so on, then there's a lot of interdependency that exists between modules. For example, prime numbers is a number properties related module, but it might be dependent on your understanding of exponents, which is a topic in algebra. So in quant, it is better to do topic wise things. So let's look at quant improvement first. So how do you improve your quant score? Now, what you need to understand is, if you remember from my discussion that I did just a while back, I told you that if you are getting easy and medium questions wrong from any topic, that's the biggest crime that you can do. That's the biggest crime that you can do on GRE. So you don't want to miss out on easy and medium questions. So you need to focus on identifying exactly where are you getting those easy and medium questions wrong. And that is the first step of your work. So what I would recommend is take a 30 question quiz on word problems, number properties, algebra, and geometry. So to start with, take a 30 question quiz on each of these 4 modules. And once you are done with the quiz, then look at the skill score in individual topics. Okay. So again, this is the functionality that you will have on GRE-based website. You can take up individual sectional-wise test, number properties, word problems, and all of that. We have this in the quiz section, basically in GRE-based. So you can take this quiz, and then our platform automatically classifies your errors. So if you take up GRE-based platform, it will automatically tell you where you have concept gaps, where you have application gaps. But in case you are doing this on your own, after doing those quizzes, look at the topics. And when you're doing these quizzes, by the way, you have to ensure that all the topics within number properties are equally represented, like prime numbers, divisibility, then you have basically even odd numbers, factors, HCF, LCM. Okay, so all these things, you should make sure that there is decent representation of each topic. You should not be doing more of one and less of the other. It should have decent representation for all the subtopics. Now, once you have done that, then you look at your accuracy across those topics. So in topics where your score is less than 60%, there you have concept gaps. For example, let's say in inequalities, okay? In inequalities, you have less than 60%. That means you probably are getting the easy and medium questions wrong as well. That means you need to work on your conceptual knowledge. And in topics where your score is between 60 and 85%, there you know the concepts, but you don't know the method. Your process of solving is not optimized, and that's why you're getting the questions wrong. You're getting basically in this over here, you're getting medium hard and hard questions incorrect. That's the main thing. And again, when you're taking this test, by the way, you have to look at 2 things. I forgot about that. One is topic-wise breakdown. The other one is difficulty-wise breakdown. You should have questions from all difficulty levels also. Now, if you are using GRE-based, then this is automatically done for you. You don't have to worry about that. We give you all topics and all difficulty levels. But yeah, please make sure that you do that. So if something is between 60 and 85, that means you are getting the medium hard and hard questions wrong. So you need to work on your method or your process basically over there. So for the concept gaps, how do you work on that? First, learn the concepts and the formulas again. Again, in GRE-based, we have video lectures to teach you this. We cover everything that is tested on GRE in very simple way. We actually teach you that. Then you learn how to solve questions. So we have files like booster files where you teach you these skills. In fact, we have very amazing course structure where we even have translation skills. For example, in many cases, people are not able to convert a word problem or an arithmetic question into an equation. So how do you translate a question into an equation? These kind of things also we teach in our coursework in GRE-based. So the idea is you first go through the concepts and learn the formulas. Then you learn how to solve questions, and then practice 15 to 20 questions or maybe up to 30 questions also if required, and make sure that you get comfortable in this level. You get comfortable with easy and medium questions. Even if you are getting the hard questions wrong, it is okay. but at least get 100% accuracy on easy and medium questions. Till the point you don't get here, don't leave this particular topic. Please make sure that you note this down. All right, guys, please make sure that you note this down. Now, what about the second area where you have application gaps? There you don't need to view your concepts again. You just need to learn how to solve questions methodically. Again, the booster files that I was talking about will come helpful over here if you're a GRE student. And what we do in the booster files is we give you one question of each variety that can be tested on GRE. So you go through those type of questions, you see the solutions, and you see whether you are using the same approach or not. Don't just check whether you get the question correct or not. And don't just look at the option analysis. Focus on the solution, focus on the thought process that is presented. And then solve about 10 to 15 questions. Because obviously your methodology won't be poor for all type of questions, maybe for some type of questions. So focus on doing those questions. Idea over here is to get 100% accuracy in medium questions. In medium hard questions, maybe 80 to 90%. And in hard questions, upwards of 60%. That's the idea. Okay. You also arrange topics in the right order, because in quant there's a lot of interdependency that exists. For example, when you're doing prime numbers, you're supposed to apply the concept of even odd over there. So you should do even odd before coming to primes. Similarly, in prime numbers, you also need to apply the concept of exponents. You might also need to solve an equation. You might also need to understand what integers are, basically. So ideally, these topics should be done before you come to primes. Okay, so what you see in this list is the logical interdependencies between different topics. This is the progressive learning architecture. And I've color-coded these topics of algebra, number properties, word problems, and geometry. And now you can see basically how interrelated these topics in reality are. Okay, so when you are working on your quant skills, so first step you focus on is baselining. So step one is identifying what is your gap. Okay, baselining is what I call it. That's what we looked at in the previous screen. Okay, that was baselining. Then you start working on in this order basically. So you go to number basics. You see, okay, is there a gap in this concept or application gap? No. That means you don't have to work on this right now. Ignore this. There is no gap over here. There is no gap over here. In linear equations, you have concept gaps. So you will work on them. And over here, your goal is to get the easy and medium questions at 100% level. Then you'll see, okay, no gap in quadratic equation. In exponents, yes, I have application gaps. So my goal is medium questions 100%, medium hard questions, I need to get to 80 to 90%. Then you will move to this unitary method, no gap, no gap, no gap. Here I have a gap, concept gap. So this way you move in this order, down this list, in this particular order. And this way you improve your quant skills. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you guys. Is this clear to all of you? Quick yes, no in this poll. Is this strategy clear to all of you guys? Yes, no in this poll will really help. I'll get to know all of you are clear with this. All right, so let me wait for a few minutes to see if I get significant responses in this one. Okay, so then I'm ending the poll now. All right, so thank you so much. I'm happy to hear that you have understood this. Now let's move to verbal. Now in verbal, there are different strategies because see, there are people who are strong in vocab, there are people who are strong in RC, there are people who are equally good in both. So we need to tackle it accordingly. So let's talk about the vocab improvement strategy first. So the first thing, and again, the common iteration, the common thought process that you need to have across all the sections of GRE is that you need to get the easy and medium questions correct. So you need to focus on learning the high frequency words because in vocab, there are a set of about 500 high frequency words which very commonly occur on GRE or are tested on GRE. Now, if you want to get this list, you can actually enroll on GRE Biz. We have this list on our website. So you can actually go through that. In our premium account, you will get flashcards for all these things with proper usages and everything. So first focus on learning these high frequency words and put them into regular use. This is very important, guys. Many people just memorize words, the meaning of those words, and then try to revise them again and again. But on the day of the test, they forget, because the idea is simple. On the day of the test, you have, let's say, a lot of anxiety as well. You know, it's the D-Day, you need to perform your best. You have been preparing for this day for a long, long time, and there's a lot of pressure on you, okay? So in general, there's a high chance that you might forget some of the words. But if you put them into regular practice, then it becomes very, very easy for you to do well. I remember when I was a student and I was preparing for verbal, uh, I I come from a non-native background. Okay, I'm not a native speaker of the language, and my vocab was very poor because I never used to read a lot. Okay, I hate reading. I can go to that extent of saying. Uh, However, when I used to read words, like for example, when I first came across the word alleviate, I did not know what it means. I did not know the meaning of the word diligent, okay, or articulate for that matter. So what I started doing was I did not just note down these words in my notebook. I also tried to start using these in my regular day-to-day speaking or writing. So instead of saying hardworking, I was using diligent. Okay, instead of, let's say, saying solving, I was using alleviation. Again, you might have to tweak it a bit, but the idea is to put it into practice. If you don't put it into practice, you will actually forget those words. It is very easy if you put those high frequency words into practice, at least the high frequency ones. And then after that, focus on the low frequency ones. These are not as frequent, but these are definitely the harder questions. So if you are looking at scoring 160 plus on verbal in GRE, these words are going to be very important. There are about, I would say, 500 of these, close to, not technically 500. There are about 200-300 words like these that you can remember. All right. Now let's talk about RC. Now RC is one place where a lot of people struggle. I told you that I was not a avid reader. I hated reading. So I remember my days when I was preparing for RC. Some common things which were there in my mind was that I'm not able to do questions from unfamiliar genres. And I have a poor recall of the RC passage. I have to go back to the passage again and again. And then I get stuck in the last two choices and end up consuming a lot of time. But in reality, all these factors are because of a mental block that we have. Trust me, in RC, the question contains the answer. You just have to understand the context in order to get the answer. So if you just scan and skim through the passage, if you're not reading the passage, understanding the passage, you will need to come back, and that will lead to kind of poor recall, and that will lead to time consumption. If you read the first time and the last time, many people just do that. Then again, you are skimming through the rest of the passage. That means you have a poor recall of the passage. You don't know exactly what the passage is telling you, asking you. Then you will get stuck in the close answer choices. Okay? Don't just concentrate on the first line and the last line of the paragraph. Read the question and search the answers. If you do that, then also you will have issues. So in GRE, it is very important that you have clear understanding of what is written in the RC section. So in GRE RC, what we recommend is that in general, if you want to improve, you need to first learn how to read and how to contextualize. Don't focus on improving your reading speed. Instead, we recommend reducing the reading speed a bit so that you're able to comprehend things better and you don't have to come back to the passage again and again for different questions. So you need to learn when you're reading where to pause so that you're able to break down sentences, you're able to take care of complex words. Because in general, even in RC, if there's a vocab related question where they're asking you the word meaning of a certain word, there would be enough context in the passage for you to kind of relate to that meaning and understand that meaning. Sometimes the context helps. So please, if you need to understand where to pause, you need to learn how to take care of complex words. You need to understand how to differentiate between a fact and an opinion and understand what is the author's opinion and what is the third party opinion. Doing all of this will eventually help you in understanding the intent of the passage. And if you understand the intent of the passage, you are actually putting yourself in the author's place and you are going to get questions correct. Okay, so make sure that you learn this right approach for RC, understand the method, which we teach in GRE is in depth. Then what you need to do is solve 5 passages one at a time. And when you are doing this, please make sure that you don't time yourself at this stage. Don't time yourself at this stage. You focus on learning the method. Okay, and then And while you're doing that, while you're reviewing one solution at a time, one passage at a time, you review the solution and see what is the understanding of the intent and the other things that you had, and compare that with the solution. Compare your understanding with the solution and see if you were able to think in the same fashion. If you're able to think in the same fashion, trust me, half of the battle is won. Okay. Once you have done this for 5 passages, one at a time, what you're trying to do is you're trying to see how you're applying that approach on one passage, and then you learn from it. You apply that learning on the next passage. You improve from it. You apply that learning on the third passage. So by the time you apply it on 5 passages, you have understood the approach. Then you master the application by making sure that you solve 30 to 40 questions. You can take quizzes of 10 questions each, I would say, 4 times, maybe 4 to 5 times. And here now you focus on your timing also. You can start focusing on timing and gradually reduce your timing, not directly go down from, let's say, if you're taking for a passage about 10 minutes, don't try to bring it 10 minutes down to, let's say, a 6-minute thing in one go. You need to bring it down to 9 minutes, then to 8, then to 7, and then to 6. Okay. And when you're doing this, even then you have to focus on reviewing the solutions and making sure that you kind of understand where you're going on. Okay, so that's about it from my side for improving your GRE scores. If you have any other questions for me, now is the time to ask me those questions. I'm opening this session for open-ended Q&A. If you want to check out our services, you can check it out on greviz.com and actually reach out to us on support@greviz.com as well for any other information. Okay. So if you have any questions for me, now is the time. You can go ahead and ask me those questions. Right now, we are offering our GRE-based product for a very, very discounted price, a promotional price of $35 for 1 month, $75 for 3 months, and $95 only for 6 months validity. So in case you're interested in these services, you can ask your questions to me now. Or if you have any other questions related to GRE, feel free to ask me now. I'm going to be here for another 2-3 minutes to answer your questions, guys. Okay, I hope you found this session helpful. Do let me know how did you find this session, guys. It will be great to hear from you. If you have any questions for me, now is the time to ask me. I'll be happy to take up your questions. Yes, let me go back to the previous slide for you. Let me know if you have a question on this one. Okay, so I don't see any question. Waiting for 2 minutes. So I guess most of you had your queries answered. So it was really, really great to have you today in the session. I'm happy that you guys found the session helpful. And in case you have any questions later on as well, you can reach out to us on the details which I've shared on your screen right now. So please feel free to reach out to GRE's team. We are doing an amazing job in helping students improve their GRE scores. And if you want to be one of them, you can definitely look at our coursework as well. Okay, so I have a few questions. Let me take them up. Can you please summarize your tips on GRE verbal? The idea one is that for vocab, focus on high frequency words, put them into practice so that you remember them, and then focus on low frequency words. For RC, first improve the approach. Make sure that you know how to read, how to contextualize things, and then only move forward and apply that on passages one at a time. Validate your analysis with the solutions, and then focus on timing. First is approach, then is timing. Okay. Rachita says what to do or how to eliminate the options when you are left with more questions and less time. So Rachita, if you're left with more questions and less time, focus only on few questions and get those correct. Okay. Don't focus on doing everything. Again, understand if you're trying to do everything by giving less time to everything, then you are probably playing on your luck. You might as well get everything incorrect. So focus on doing things that you can get right, and focus on the ones that you have been, focus on using the approach that you have been using. Don't change your approach if you are on time crunch. Okay. Perhaps is actually, I know all the concepts, but my problem is, I think in a cognitive one, that is, I find it hard to figure out the methodology or strategy before 50 seconds in call. So Tayab, it's possible that you have not exposed yourself to all different kind of questions, and you are, because of that, and you have not practiced those kind of questions enough, so you take time to get used to that. So you need to make sure that you are actually getting exposed to all different varieties. Understand, try to look at questions and see which part of the question signals which variety it is. Okay, so please make sure that you kind of do this. And this is something which you will find in GRE with boosters. Booster files, we actually give you one question at least of each variety. And then there are practice questions on that variety as well. So this is something which will help you. And in those boosters, we will even teach you how to think strategically about the process. Okay. So if you go through the video solutions in the boosters, you will understand how to think about the step-by-step methodology. That is what will help you to improve. Vincent says, my time for GRE scores less than 2 weeks. What should I be doing now in terms of learning? So Vincent, if your time is close, then I would recommend that you focus on the low-hanging fruits, the areas in which you are getting the easy and medium questions wrong, and just focus on improving them. And then revise your weak areas and maybe your notes, and take tests in this timeline. Okay. Great, guys. I'm so happy that some of you at least asked me some questions. I'm really, really happy that I was able to answer them for you. So all the best from my side. Do check out our website. Do check out our services to know more about us. And I'm pretty sure that you will actually find our course to be really, really helpful in helping you prepare for GRE. All the best from my side, guys. This is Piyush signing off for today.